J'ai vécu ici quelques ans parce que j'avais une copine ici, en Argentine. Et après on s'est séparés, après je suis resté à Paris. If you see the critics in a bigger extent, it was very well received. But I think that to judge if an album was really successful, I think you can always say a couple of years afterwards. It's the question, how will the Visitor sound in 5 years? If it still sounds good in 5 years, then it was a success. Je suis venu une fois dans l'été, après que nous avions joué dans le Trabando. Ah ouais? Ah. Oui. C'était en août. I think that we have achieved, not only me, but in the whole Comeme context, to work quite freely, not so referential, and I think that's something. In my case, it has to do with the fact that I started making music very early as a kid, so a lot of the stuff I do nowadays has really a lot to do with what I did when I was a child, so the references are very personal. I think that's one of the reasons why it doesn't sound like something. And in general, like, it's something that we try in the label, it's like, and I think it's sometimes even easier to do music that doesn't sound like something else, because it's always shown like something difficult, but I think it's easy because if you don't really try to fit in, then automatically it will sound original or different. Yeah. And for instance, this year I went to Medellin and I recorded with Sano and Glad and other people a record that we will release next year. For instance, when we recorded this Medellin album that will come out next year, it was, I went for 1.5 months to Medellin, and we rented a house and we did music there. And it was actually a residency from the Goethe Institute. Often these cultural institutions can help in doing stuff like that. So we've done that, or we also did once, went to the house of Gudrun Gut and Thomas Fehlmann and produced a lot of records there with several Comeme artists. The problem about Comeme is that you have Ana Gelder in Rosario in Argentina, and Daniel Maloso in Mexico, in Monterrey, and the DJ's Pareja in Buenos Aires. So we always have to try to somehow be at the same place at some moment of the year to do stuff together, because we like very much the collaborative process. Well, if it comes to places where I like to play or where I go often to play, in Europe I think France is very important for me. I think I play more in France than in Germany, although I lived much longer in Germany. And in Latin America I think the most intense place for me to play is Mexico, definitely, because other than Argentina and Chile, which are very centralized on the capitals, you got many places to play, and Mexico is a very young scene of a lot of people listening to music. And what happened in South America, or Latin America, which is interesting to understand, is the fact that through the internet, the possibility to access to music has grown a lot, because in the past it was like you needed like the record shop, and okay, in Paris you had good record shops, in Cologne, but in South America it was more difficult because it was imported records, very expensive records, not so many arriving, and now through the old SoundCloud, internet, whatever thing, it has become more spreadable.
Yeah, funky. Yeah. Big up for Matias Agüayo, I'm looking forward to it. Have fun.
Look at me. I'm just an empty shell.
I mean, I live lived a long time in Cologne, and Cologne has achieved to create a good music scene, and also in Germany like good infrastructure of distribution and stuff like that, which wouldn't be really that way possible in South America. Whereas there is a lot of talent and a lot of inspiration there, so for me it's a good way to be able to combine both.
Love's left and gone away. It's like all the stars in the sky, they will die and burn out in flames. Say goodbye.
I will DJ. I will do a DJ set, but I will sing also, and I have some little electronics to play with.
Say goodbye.
Thank you.